Previously, on the all-new adventures of the Doctor Who Book Club podcast.
It's time to decide which Doctor to review next in our current cycle.
Was it last year?
I would love to let one of you pick. May, I don't know if you've ever gotten to pick one before.
Yeah.
Do you have maybe a favorite number out of those, or anything like a preference you have for which Doctor to do?
Third.
All right, so next we'll be reading Doctor Third.
And now, our story continues.
Welcome to the all-new adventures of the Doctor Who Book Club podcast. This is Matt in Minnesota.
May and Tom in Denver.
Hi guys, how are you?
Hi.
Good.
Good, awesome. I saw some nice pictures this morning of Figaro in front of all the books. Was he enjoying reading them too?
Yep. Sure.
Okay. Well, how are you two doing?
We're doing good.
My understanding is you two have watched and read a lot more Doctor Who since last time we spoke.
Yeah.
We've watched some Fourth Doctor, all the Ninth Doctor episodes.
Awesome. What are some of the other Doctors that you've either watched or read or listened to lately?
Eighth, maybe a little seventh or sixth. I think it was seventh.
Wow, so you've been all over the place with your Doctor Who exploration.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and move on to our show and tell, where each of us talks about something that they've done or seen lately related to Doctor Who, or something exciting from their life related to Doctor Who. I'm going to go first, and I'll talk about the 2 missing episodes of Doctor Who that were discovered last week in England. Did you two hear about these 2 missing episodes, these old episodes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess they were discovered at an old film collector's house, and there are 2 episodes from the first Doctor era. There are still many missing episodes out there, but that's pretty exciting to discover 2 new ones.
Yep.
How about you two? What is your show and tell?
We dressed up as 2 of the Doctors for Halloween.
Oh, wonderful. Which Doctors did you dress up as?
11th and 13th.
Nice, very good. Did you get a lot of candy?
Yeah.
All right, so are you ready to review our book?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so this time we're reviewing Doctor Third, which was May's pick last time. This is written and illustrated by Adam Hargreaves, the son of Roger Hargreaves from the Mr. Men and Little Miss book series. Okay, so when we join the Doctor, he has been out shopping and he's rushing back to his laboratory in Bessie, his trusty yellow car, and he seems to be in quite a hurry. Are you two familiar with Bessie before reading this book?
Yeah.
No.
All right. Well, when I think of the Third Doctor era, this Bessie is certainly one of the things I think of. In case you didn't know, during the Third Doctor era, the Doctor is stuck on Earth and he doesn't have access to his TARDIS. So he has a lot of adventures on Earth, and he uses Bessie to get around. So he's driving along in Bessie and he runs into someone on the side of the road. And it turns out that it's Mike Yates, who is one of his friends from UNIT, whose Land Rover has broken down, and he picks up Mike Yates. The Doctor says that he's quite agitated that he has to be delayed by picking up Mike, and he's like, make it quick, I need to get back to the laboratory as soon as possible. So at this point, when you were reading the book, what kind of experiment do you think the Doctor was going to be involved with?
I don't know.
Or something top secret.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking too, or maybe something very scientific. How much do you two know about UNIT back in the Third Doctor era? Like some of the other characters or other things that they're involved with?
We know some UNIT from the Fourth Doctor. Brigadier, Harry.
Yeah, excellent. That was one of the things I was surprised with this book, is that we don't end up seeing the Brigadier. Usually when I think of UNIT in this era, the first thing that comes to my mind is the Brigadier. Maybe he's in one of the other Roger Hargreaves Doctor Who books.
He's not.
How strange.
Mhm.
All right, so the doctor keeps going. He's about to press the hyperdrive button. I didn't know that Bessie had a hyperdrive feature until reading this book. That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
It did make me think, though, like if I was in a car and I went supersonic speeds, I don't know if the car would like hold together. I think I'd be a little scared.
Yeah.
Of course, you need like a super reinforced windshield, but then again, this is Doctor Who, so.
Great point, Tom. All right, so next, the doctor comes across another person, and this is where we get our dramatic reading by Adam Martin. Let's have a listen.
The doctor was again about to press the hyperdrive button when they saw someone on the side of the road. Again. It was Liz Shaw, who was just coming out of the library. Her arms were full of very heavy-looking science books. "That's Liz," said Mike. "Looks like she needs a lift." "Hell's bells," grumbled the doctor, pulling over to let Liz in. "Make it quick," said Mike. "The doctor's in a terrible hurry. Some sort of urgent experiment." "Really?" said Liz. "Anything interesting?" "Very," said the doctor, jamming Bessie into gear. "I bet it's a top-secret experiment," suggested Mike. "Possibly," said the doctor tensely. For the third time that day, he was about to press hyperdrive when their journey was interrupted again. It was Joe Grant.
All right, and thank you, Adam, for reading that. Nicely done.
It also has a bad word in it.
And after picking up Liz and getting into Bessie, the doctor runs into another one of his companions, Joe Grant, and of course they stop to give her a lift as well. One of the things that struck me about this scene is I think this may be the first time that Joe Grant and Liz Shaw meet each other. I haven't watched a whole lot of the Third Doctor episodes, but I think this is the first time they ever meet. Have either of you watched any Third Doctor episodes from old
Nope.
Doctor Who?
No.
We've only watched Fourth Doctor.
I've only watched little bits and pieces of the Third Doctor. I do like that he's kind of he's a little crankier than the Fourth Doctor. I think he sometimes seems a little huffy, but in kind of a charming way. And he also knows martial arts.
Does?
Yes, Vesuvian Aikido, I think. All right, so a very overloaded Bessie sets off again, and the doctor seems increasingly exasperated, and then it starts to snow, which is odd. So Mike and Liz and Joe are all pretty stressed out by this, and of course, as is the doctor. And Bessie skids sideways and slides into a ditch. As they start working on the car, they look up, and who do they see on the ridge above them?
Ice Warriors.
Yeah, it's the Ice Warriors who surely must have caused this rapid temperature change. How familiar are you two with the Ice Warriors, or maybe what are some other episodes have you seen with the Ice Warriors in them?
None.
Yeah, I think I have a little bit. They show up in some modern Doctor Who episodes with the 11th and 12th Doctors, which was kind of, exciting to have them be brought back. And of course, they're in Classic Who as well.
Yep.
So the Ice Warriors raise their sonic disruptors and fire at the snow, and they set off a huge avalanche. So what does everybody have to do to escape the avalanche?
Hyperdrive!
That's right. They climb back into Bessie, and the doctor punches the hyperdrive. This is probably my favorite moment from this entire episode, or book, I suppose. How Bessie is able to surf on top of the advancing avalanche, and as they rocket out of there. Have you two ever learned about avalanche safety in Colorado?
Yeah.
We have.
That's certainly one of my biggest fears. I would certainly never like to be caught in an avalanche.
No.
All right, well, as the avalanche slows, Bessie shoots clear of the snow and back onto the safety of the road, and the doctor finally gets back to the lab, where he takes a grocery bag out of his car and rushes into the lab. The others follow him excitedly, wondering what amazing experiment they're about to witness. And when they get into the lab, what does the doctor have?
Ice cream.
Yeah. Now, unfortunately, though, because of all the delays, what has happened to the ice cream?
It melted.
Yeah. Yes, unfortunately, the ice cream melted, and the final moment, Joe laughs at him and says, "That's what was so urgent." The doctor glowers at the tub of ice cream and says, "Where's an ice warrior when you need one?" So
Right outside the window.
I know it could have been a friendship moment, right? The ice warriors and the doctor could have come together over ice cream.
Maybe.
All right, and that is the end of Dr. Third. Let's get into some story details here. One of the things I liked about the story is, of course, the use of Bessie. It's this kind of signature third Doctor thing. Though Bessie also shows up in some fourth Doctor episodes, as well as a seventh Doctor story, and it gets time scooped in The Five Doctors, which is a episode where they have five doctors all coming together.
Yeah.
One of the other things I liked about the story is that it really highlights the unit family feeling of the third Doctor era. Although, as you two noted, who's missing from this one?
The Brigadier.
Yeah, I was really surprised that the Brigadier did not show up. Are there some other aspects of the story that you two wanted to comment on?
I think just the fact that the Ice Warriors didn't really like follow them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seemed more like they wanted to catch them in a trap, and once the Doctor activated the hyperdrive and they escaped, they were just sort of like, oh well.
Meh. Darn. Meh.
Maybe they would have pursued him more aggressively if they knew that he had ice cream.
Maybe.
Other things I wanted to note from this episode was the use of the hyperdrive. Again, I thought it was that was the most exciting moment of the story. I guess that the hyperdrive was first seen in the third Doctor story, The Time Monster, where it was also known as Superdrive. If you could have any fantastical feature on your car, what would you add? Think along the lines of like, flying mode, underwater mode, super fast mode, or anything
Like-
else.
Force shield and flying car.
Um,
Yes.
It could probably just like expand to fit anything I needed it.
Ooh, okay, so you could store whatever you want in there? Nice. I think when I was a little kid, other than like having a flying car or something, I think I really wanted the idea of having like a water fountain in my car so I could have that whenever I wanted. All right, and so of course the Doctor, his big experiment is eating ice cream. What are your favorite flavors of ice cream?
Triple death chocolate.
What is in that, Tom?
Chocolate chips, chocolate fudge, and chocolate ice cream.
Very nice. May, how about you?
I can't decide between Blue Moon or Batter.
Or cookie batter?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Those all sound very good. I usually go with some sort of coffee ice cream. The only other Doctor Who related ice cream connection I could think of is at the very end of the 13th Doctor and her time as the Doctor, when her and Yaz have stopped for ice cream as they float above Earth. The Doctor definitely seems to like ice cream.
Yeah.
Now that we're done with the book, Tom and May, what would you rate this book out of 10?
Probably 9 out of 10.
I hate to say this, but I'm probably gonna have to go with a 7.
I think I was also going to go with a 7 out of 10, Tom. I liked it was a fun and kind of silly story. I liked that we got to see so many characters, and I like the funny ending. But I was disappointed that we didn't see the Brigadier, and I don't know, I wanted a little bit more out of seeing the Ice Warriors.
Also, so there's just this jet of flame coming out of the hyperdrive. I would be concerned that it would like melt the snow
Right?
instead of surfing on top of it.
Yeah, the surfing on top of the avalanche was pretty out there, pretty goofy.
So yeah, that's part of the thing too.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's go ahead and move on to listener feedback. And we have an email from Lori in Portland, Oregon, who writes to thank us for the excellent podcast and wants to know which Doctor do you know the least about and that you want to learn more about.
Probably the first Doctor.
All right, cool. And Tom, what about you?
Isn't there like a 15th Doctor?
Ooh, like a 15th Doctor. I think there is, yes. So it would be interesting to learn more about the Fugitive Doctor.
The War Doctor.
Right, of course, in the War Doctor too. And also, like, I don't know very much about the second Doctor, even though he's one of my husband's favorites. So all of those are great options.
Mm-hmm.
So listeners, do please write in at andwbcpodcast@gmail.com with your thoughts. All right, Tom and May, so it's time to pick our book for next time. And here are our options. You can choose from either the second Doctor, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, or 10th Doctors. May, I think you got to choose last time. So Tom, it's your turn to pick. Which would you like to do?
2 words. Long scarf.
All right, so it sounds like we're gonna go with the fourth Doctor?
Yep.
All right. Well, until next time, this has been Matt in Minnesota.
And Mantaw in Colorado.
Happy reading.
Thank you for listening to the all-new adventures of the Doctor Who Book Club podcast. Special thanks to George C. Music for use of their song, Doctor Who theme swing jazz version. You can follow us on Twitter at ANDWBC Podcast and like us on Facebook. Help other listeners to find us by leaving a rating or review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. You can contact the show by emailing your thoughts to andwbcpodcast@gmail.com. And until next month, happy reading.
I think that went well.
Hooray!
I was surprised and a little sad when your call came through. I wanted the ringtone to be the theme song from the podcast, and it wasn't. I need to get that sorted out.